Plants have had a little bit of a knock on the Forbidden Limited list previous to the one prior, having the Sun Avalon Dryas being limited to 1, and that's a very good start. Unexpected die. And
that was expected.
Yeah, that was very expected from my side, for sure.
Yep.
And interestingly enough, we talked about that before we went into match. On the deck list, the card he just summoned, the most powerful normal monster in the game, arguably, Sunset Genius Loci. Even though he's playing 60 cards, there's only 2 of that. But I mean, he just gets it anyways, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's some mathematical reasoning and logic for 60 cards and 5 copies of Loci, I suppose, at that point. Maybe it's just not great to normal summon. But yeah, it is just a singular normal monster. What can one normal monster do here? Well, we're going to activate the Sowing. This is going to trigger the effect of the Dryas, which then takes the damage from the Sowing, gains back the life points, triggering to bring out the Healer from the extra deck, and then the Sunseed Twin triggers as well. So we're summoning out the Loci from the grave. Then we're going to go into the Healer underneath the Jasmine. The Jasmine's going to tribute and summon out. Is it time for Ragnaraikas? Is it Lone Fire? Okay.
Just go for Lone Fire. And I mean, that is kind of the standard setup. This has not really changed too much over the last couple of months. Yep. We have also seen this, for example, at German Nationals. And that's just how you want to start, how the one-card combo with Loci goes, and that's really, really good. And interestingly enough, as I just said, he won both of those big tournaments in that season with that Rika deck. And then through that, qualified for the points playoff at the European Championship, where he then all of a sudden didn't play that deck anymore. I couldn't believe it. He was playing Jubel all of a sudden.
I was very disappointed that he chose to play Jubel. It makes a lot of sense to play a deck like Jubel in that points playoff. We've discussed this many times, that you want to go for a rather high-rolly deck. But which deck high rolls more than Rika?
Oh yeah, no, that's a very good point. As we use these Ragnaraica cards, the recent addition to the plant deck, allowing you to have so much link fodder to then keep climbing. And here is the special summon out from the deck with the Lone Fire, not once per turn. Well, not hard once per turn, going to summon out the Lilyborea, and that's going to get a Discoloseum. And then I don't believe we've plant locked ourselves just yet, so we can then use the Discoloseum to search out the Therian Regulus, which is going to insulate versus any other follow-up or any other disruption that our opponent would have. And looking at the way this combo's played out, I mean, it's quite deep into the combo before you get that protection, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but still, it also feels like we haven't even normal summoned yet, so even if you would go for Nibiru here, you probably would just still end up on so many things. So even if you do it here, I don't know whether it would be enough, honestly.
All right, well, we have the Jasmine triggering to get a search every time you gain life points. That's what the Healer does here for the Rika part of the portion. I guess is what you're going for here, right? We still get the Con Mudan setup, which is really good because it allows you to use the tributing of your opponent's cards as at 4 cost to trigger the Glamour and the Rika Sheet, which will no doubt be a part of the final end piece of this field.
Con is just such an incredibly powerful field spell. There I have to raise the question, which field spell is better, Pearl Rhino or Rika Con?
Oh, it's Rika Con all day. Isolated from each other. I mean, of course, the Pearl Rhino had like a big showing when Telemans was Baba's deck, but it was just also only like the only field spell they had available to themselves. But the power that Con has is untouched to me.
All right, well, this is also a further addition to the deck with the Arrow Mage cards. This is Arrow Malilith Rosemary, which can then search out Rosalina from the deck, which we can summon out the hand eventually to then bring out Laurel. And then I assume we're probably going to try and trigger the Jasmine again at some point through the life gain effect. And there it is. There's the link summon of the Jasmine. There's the Humid Winds activating, I think, paying 500 to add. And then you can also use the effect to gain and get the search. Here's our Rosalina. And yeah, Plants historically had some issues dealing with spell and traps. And the new Arrow Mage cards really help you push through that. You have Magnolia as a new addition to the deck, which is no doubt going to be summoned at some point throughout this turn, which you can use to summon from the grave using the Aroma Blend. And then that's going to be able to target a card on the field and banish it. So that is some of the additions and tools that Plants have been offered recently.
Yeah, I mean, they have always been Link summoning, then also, of course, they have been Exceed summoning, so they thought, hey, let's also give them some fusion summons. So when are the Synchro Monsters coming, I'm asking? Rika Synchro Monsters when?
That seems to be the go-to for support, is let's throw in some fusions as well. So yeah, really cool aspect of the deck is the addition of Magnolia with the protection as well as the removal. And you can see here we are getting out Snowdrop alongside the Princess from the hand. Oh, Petal, actually. This is going to get the Mudan most likely.
I'm thinking if cards like Glow Up Bulb were legal, then there would be a big synchro portion for the deck.
Absolutely, yeah. Probably give Julius a couple of months, and then he's probably going to have that kind of version figured out as well.
All right, so we are manipulating the levels on the field here using the effect of Snowdrop, targeting the Princess, and now we can make 2 rank 4s here using the effect of Strenna. And when Strenna is tributed, it's going to be able to float up into the Teardrop or the Hypetrion from the extra deck, which is going to be able to create another layer of disruption. And here is the tribute of the Mudan on the Strenna. That's going to get Con, and then on the new chain, the Strenna attaches itself onto that Hypetrion. You can see that we haven't used the spell yet. So the way this works is the activation of Con will then trigger the Hypetrion to then add, or rather attach a card onto itself as the same type of card that was just activated. So that's going to be able to give us either a monster or a spell negate for the opponent's turn.
Yeah, and actually there was a bit of a trouble against Nibiru sometimes with this deck, because when you would just have the combination of Effect Veiler or Impermanence plus the Nibiru, you could just hold it very long against that deck, because they only would put up that one negate. Because very importantly, with the Hyperiton, it can only be used on the opponent's turn to negate cards. And therefore that was a thing that people were doing against Rika, and Julius picked up on that, and therefore now within the combo you just kind of also end on the Strenna on the field. So if they would go for the Nibiru, that would be tributed, and therefore you would have that effect going off, which is really good as an additional way to play around Nibiru. And the deck already has a lot of them.
He has already used the Strenna effect once this turn. And this
is it once per turn? Oh, okay, that's a good catch.
You can only use each effect of Rika Queen Strenna once per turn.
True. No, that's right.
So this is a decent follow-up.
All right, we are going to attempt to play, by the way, so every single zone possible has been filled up here, other than the opponent's extra monster zone. But leaving the Strenna up here is really cool, because you will most likely tribute it at some point if they crack a couple of monsters, using the effect of the Rika Princess or the Rika Sheet, rather than tributing your opponent's card, which you can use with one of the 2 of those. The first and second of those can instead be used to tribute your own monster, the Strenna, and the Strenna will then be able to go up into the Queen, the Teardrop, which will then be able to tribute a monster that your opponent controls.
Yeah, you know what's funny? Julius is having quite a unique way here into this top 16 match, and now also with this top 16 game, because in the last round of Swiss, he faced Blackwing. Managed to win that one to sneak into top 32. Then in top 32, guess what? He already played against Chimera, and now he plays against Chimera again. You wouldn't expect that going into the tournament, would you?
It's definitely an onslaught of varied matchups for sure here. But yeah, no hand traps from Jordan. However, we are instead playing a whole array of field-breaking cards, and Book of Eclipse has seen a bit of popularity, especially over the years when Kashtira was quite popular. Coming back now into this format as well, because you can chain it to something like Desiree to then prevent another card from being negated. So it's quite a very versatile card.
Ooh, we have to negate it here, of course.
Yeah, gotta negate with the Hypetrion, detaching a spell.
I think that was another one.
Triple tags.
Ooh, okay. We're working our way into this.
I mean, you could potentially steal Bengal Lancer.
Just negating it too, though, with the Regulus.
And now there is the next Book of Eclipse.
Book of Eclipse. All right.
But the thing is, yes, even though we are putting many cards face down, there is still the Bengal Lancer just sitting there, and the Rika Sheet is also still with the Concon up. A big threat for Jordan, so he has to play through that as well.
No, it's really terrifying. There's so much layered disruption here. You have the Concon tribute, as you mentioned, but there's also a Princess in the graveyard, so we can use that to negate a monster effect too.
I mean, the Princess probably is turned off because there is no more Rika monster on the field, right? I mean, at least not
do you require?
up.
Doesn't it Rika card? Does it not activate through Concon?
Well, you control the Rika monster. No, you have to. So we actually with that.
Well, it's fine because
accomplished quite a bit.
Well, no, because the Strenna is going to be able to float up into
called by the grave on the Strenna, though. No Rika monsters for you. That's a decent hand from Jordan to play into the field here, honestly.
Okay, so we can banish the Strenna, so it won't put a Rika monster onto the field, the Teardrop. So now, what is left here? the Benga Lancer? Have we really, like... Have we really forced everything out?
It almost feels like it, yes. And Julius can't believe it himself. Usually this field does not get broken. Seriously, when you put this up, you are supposed to win. But all of a sudden, Jordan starts playing into it beautifully here. And it does resolve.
Look at that, 5 spells in the graveyard. Stealing the Chimera does get to resolve the effect here, but 2 cards left in hand. What more can we do here? Ooh. Remind us how the hero cards work.
This is a new technology that has been included into the deck. We're running Evil Hero, Dusted Gold, and also, as you can see, the Evil Hero Sinister Necrum. And that one just actually says that, interestingly enough, and also, of course, the Dark Fusion. And the Dark Fusion, then, if you fusion someone with that, prevents from targeting, which is really, really cool. So it's an additional way of fusioning within the deck.
Right,
and guess what? It's a light feat, which is probably even the more important part, and that's why you're running it. The Dusted Gold is the light fiend that brings you into the Fiendsmith's package of the deck, even more convenient.
Yeah, no, lots of different ways to access these multiple different engines that have been really popular in recent years to give your deck multiple layers of pushing power going second, some resilience when you're setting up going first. We saw something similar with that a couple of years ago with things like the Adventure engine using the Water Enchantress, and here we have Fiendsmith to replace and do a little bit more.
This is incredible. If he really manages to break this, he may as well be the best player left in the tournament.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. It's absolutely beautiful the way he sequenced this.
Look at this.
And he's just so calm
on the field. He never questioned it, right? He never doubted it. He was like, I'm surely going to break this with the double Eclipse plus Talents.
I think
plus Called By.
Plus Called By.
I think it's the power of that glorious beard.
Must be.
All the wisdom.
All the wisdom for real.
Yeah.
But please don't forget that there's still the Benga Lancer. I think that one hasn't been used yet, so there is still one layer of interruption. And also, I'm pretty sure that you will have to kind of diminish the field of Julius as well.
Oh,
he's
not
packing
enough.
up Benga Lancer is enough, adding back the Dusted Gold to the hand. Goodness, this looked so good for Jordan, but it was just the bounce on the summon of Dusted Gold.
He is a 2-time champion for a reason, isn't he?
Yeah, no. It's actually incredible that we even got that far, by the way.
Yeah.
A single interruption remaining. We cut
Never
off.
worried.
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely not neck and neck there. It was no, nothing to worry about. But yeah, really impressive sequencing there from Jordan to be able to fight through. Let's actually count that up. So we had Regulus, we turned off Princess, we stopped the Teardrop Float, the Hyperion was baited out, as well as, was there one more I'm missing? The Sheet.
Rika Sheet, of course, yeah.
So 5+ forms of disruption. Almost played through there, one single Benga Lancer remaining, and I suppose that's maybe the weakness of the Book of Eclipse. It just doesn't do anything against Link monsters.
Yeah, absolutely. So that card is also supposed to be really good against Yubel, right? And I was questioning that myself all the time. Yeah, it does deal with the Caesar, it does deal with the Phantom, but it doesn't deal with the Unchained package of the deck. So yeah, it deals with half of the field, kind of. And I was always wondering, is that really enough as a breaker?
Perhaps production can get our camera position over to us here while we discuss the in-between games here. Let's talk a little bit about the side deck, Leo. How are you interpreting this is going to play through?
I mean, you're going to go first here in camera.
For sure, that's definitely going to happen.
So let's see. I don't have the side deck open, so I think Basti can give us a little bit more insight on that.
Really, really, really good inclusions for going first, because first of all, for going first, we're starting an extra card, very popular in other decks, but also here in this now, the Silhouette Rabbit. And in the head of the rabbit, there is the Silhouette Trick. Usually you see Azarun a lot, but he's playing the Silhouette Trick as a trap card for the
What does the
rabbit.
trick do? Is it negate a face-up card?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It is negate face-up cards. I think up to the number of illusion monsters you have on the field, and I think it may even count itself, so it does negate 2 then in the end, because the rabbit plus itself would equal 2, so that's kind of neat to have.
You have multiple illusion monsters in your deck.
True. Yeah, actually.
So I suppose Chimera definitely wants to play this over the Azure.
This is just Dark Ruler no more on your opponent's turn.
In the form of a trap card, yeah, no.
Absolutely, yeah. But, I mean, plenty of options. But how about we see them in action, huh? Players are ready, drawing their starting hands. Into Game 2 we go.
Game number 2, starting off here. Let's see if Jordan can do something going first this time, having unfortunately lost the dice roll in a matchup where the dice roll really matters. There's a lot of interesting tech here, so we'll see if Jordan actually brings some of this out. I'm not going to spoil it, so we'll just wait and see if some of those side deck options come out here. But we're starting with a Tract, which isn't ideal, is it?
No,
Can't be, right?
We grabbed the Adustic Golem. We already have the Lurry in hand, so
yeah.
I guess that makes decent use of that Lurry in hand, right?
Is that 2 one-offs? The Lurry and the Tract? I assume you don't play multiple Tract.
Yeah, it is.
Is the Requiem here attributing to summon out the Engraver? And let's see how the Fiendsmith engine bridges you for your Chimera cards. It'll be interesting to see how that's been incorporated. Looks like we're going for the Necroquip Princess.
That's how it is.
Yeah, it cannot be understated just how good the TCG World Premiere cards have been for these Fiend piles. Aerial Eater, as well as Necroquip being a huge aspect of the Yubel deck, and you can see even here it's being well utilized by Jordan in Chimera.
Yeah, and I mean, you saw even him utilizing the second effect of Necroquip Princess, which usually doesn't come up because he discarded that Adusted Gold to the graveyard. That triggered Necroquip Princess, just giving him the opportunity to draw a fresh, free,
crisp.
Yes.
Crisp.
Let's see what it is.
Hot off the press.
Yeah. From the top of his deck, just like that. And I mean, when you get it for free, you'll take it, right? And there's Cornfield Codal coming down as well.
So I think we're very well set up on the side of Jordan. Can just do everything he wants now, is in every single engine that he wants the access to. And I'm quite curious to see what he's going to end up putting to the field, because Rika is not known to be the best deck in terms of going second. However, the list that Julius is playing, it's really heavy going second. I mean, it is still a 60-card pile, but it is a breaker pile.
For sure, it definitely is.
Ooh, is that Wave King Caesar?
Absolutely.
That's really strong.
Oh,
so
the Dark Fusion. Look at this OG original card, and it's actually just a way to also summon out your Chimera cards. Yeah, it's as polymerization, basically, right?
Not very dark of it, is it, when it's summoning a... He's a wind monster? No, he's a dark, right?
Is a dark monster, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Wave King Caesar is very much a staple in Unchained, if you recall, last year. Part of almost every combo in Enfield, which is, for those of you at home to remind you, it is detach one card from itself, and then you can negate the effect of a monster, negate the effect that would summon a monster, and it's not once per turn, so you essentially have 2 solemn warnings on legs.
And also you're protected by Nibiru with the Primal Being and cards like the Bestials. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm just happy that I saw Avian and Burstinatrix on stream here on the Dark Field.
Definitely. We have all the OGs around this weekend. Okay, Talons. Interesting choice to keep around, honestly, for here going first against a Rika deck, because you don't really expect them to use too many monster effects. As we were mentioning, this is usually a breaker deck. In 60 cards, you can't really rely on drawing too many hand interactions. So having this card in your deck is questionable, but Jordan did make the decision.
It's hard to say. It could be a number of issues, right? It could be side patterns. Most likely not going to be fixating on something like Rika, so it could just be a little bit of crossover from other decks.
Yeah.
But it's also, you know, unless you've properly been watching Julius or something, like it's hard to tell. Like, will he be playing some hand traps? Will he not? In 60 cards, you would most likely expect like some. So Talents was probably just like, you know, card 37, 8, and 9 potentially, just to keep the side patterns nice and mathematically clean.
In a top cut, you also want to high roll a little bit. I mean, after all, you're sitting over on the other side of Julius Schwarzkopf, who has been performing like crazy recently. So I think a card like Triple Tactic Talents can win you games on its own when you get all the information that your opponent has in hand, and you can take apart crucial pieces for their combo. So I think it is on the off chance that they do throw a hand trap.
Oh, look at that.
Wow.
That is King Tiger Wangu. Speaking of original OG cards, that is a pretty old card all the way back from Pharaonic Guardian, I believe.
This is so good against plants. A lot of the monsters that you start and extend with are actually really small. They need to be under 17, is it? 14 or less attack will just be immediately destroyed by King Tiger Wangu. So yeah, and you can see the pad there being passed over from Julius. Definitely has to read that one. And I believe we send a card from the hand in the end phase, right? Did we not trigger? Doesn't the Chimera send from the hand?
I think we're wrong Chimera, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or did we summon the other one as well?
Wrong Chimera. I
Yeah,
guess
no,
not.
that's not that Chimera.
All right. Well, this is our field here. We've got 2 Solemn Warnings. We've got 2 sets.
Got
to
the
be able to.
Baphomet.
Yeah. So how are we getting the Wangu out the hand here?
That is
it
a good question, but you can Chimera Fusion it away, and then on the opposing turn, use one of your Illusion Fusion monsters to summon it back from the graveyard.
Okay, there you go. That's how we're going to bring that online. So do you think you immediately activate this? Is he thinking about doing that? It looks like it.
Chimera Fusion.
Is it
There
main
it
phase?
is. Yeah.
It is main phase?
That's the thing.
Oh.
I think Julius might have just said, hey, I want to have battle phase, but then Jordan was like, I will quickly go ahead and now do this instead.
Does he have evenly matched?
He's playing it, yeah, we saw it in game one.
Evenly in his list, but the thing
Yeah,
is...
he was maining it, right?
Yeah, Jordan knows it.
True. Yeah, no, evenly is definitely a scary card when you've got a big setup like this. All right, so we're going to trigger all of our
and the thing
materials here.
Yeah, the deck actually has a good way to play around evenly, but we went for a route that now is leading towards King Tiger Wanghu, but instead, a lot of the times you would actually arguably try to go for another card that was very popular in that deck lately, and that is, of course, the Diabels, the original Sin Keeper, because that would require your opponent to set all of his cards before activating, and there's the evenly matched! I can't believe it! He did not go for that option, and now he gets punished massively by evenly matched in the battle phase. He could have played around it by going for the Diabels, and then evenly could have not been activated, but here it is now.
And Jordan is smiling about it. Is he laughing away the pain, or is he really unbothered by it?
Look at this! Gone it is!
It is wild.
In a heartbeat.
We are not keeping the Wave King Caesar, so we are just going to sit on the Chimera here. Is there any reason this is better than 2 negates?
The Mirror Sword Knight and the Code Lil, but I don't think there is a way to get the Wanghu out now anymore.
That is crazy. Can you remind me how the Sin Keeper plays around evenly matched? Isn't it quick plays?
No, you have to set every spell or trap first before activating it.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's really cool.
Definitely.
Oh, unexpected die in main phase 2. Is it time for full combo? Do we have anything to stop this?
This cannot be real. Lokai is back.
Oh no.
Julius is just Juliusing right now. This is just very much full combo if there is no interruption on Jordan's side. And yes, there are 2 cards in the graveyard that can interact with the opponent on your turn or on your opponent's turn if you have this Chimera on the field.
Oh, okay, Kong Kong doesn't do anything just yet because there's no Rika monsters, but there is a Rika monster in his hand! There is no way we could just tribute the opponent's monster. Holy...
So has this turned off the...
Oh, wait. Oh, that's interesting, because it's cost, and so, of course, to the effect, we can still respond now.
Oh, wow, and now we get the Wanghu out.
True, it's in the graveyard, you're right.
So Wanghu doesn't destroy the cards that are on the field already, if I'm not mistaken. So the Lokai is still there, but what is the Lokai gonna do? Was this a crucial misstep by Julius?
Oh, that's so smart of Jordan, because his field was broken so crazily here. Sometimes people are just immediately mentally giving up then, but he was so quick on being like, hey, immediately when this card is in the graveyard, I'm using the quick effect to bring out the Wanghu. And there it is.
Okay, so the Snowdrop has how much attack?
1-2.
1-2.
Oh, really?
So shouldn't both of these be destroyed?
Oh, no. There is just
that's
no
unbelievable.
way.
Okay.
Last card in hand, Forbidden Droplet. Oh, my.
Wow.
He's just built different. We at German Nationals, we called Julius a member of the Young and Wild in Germany because they came into the scene very young still in terms of age, but so incredibly experienced already in their gameplay. They're playing crazy combo decks, they're going wild with it, and they're having so much success with it. And as you can see here, once more, he's pulling it off.
Well, it cannot be understated just how incredible that interaction was. The Wanghu was activated as a mandatory Chain Link 1 to destroy on the resolution there, but we chained Forbidden Droplet to negate the Wanghu, and from here there's no disruption. There's just a negated Wanghu versus what is essentially going to be full plant combo. We didn't even draw the twin, of course, so yeah, there it is. We're going to trigger the effect of the Dryas, bringing out Healer. Twin's going to bring back the Lokai, and we just have materials for days here.
And now look at the pacing that Julius has. He's just going through it. And Jordan, keep in mind, he only has 2 cards in hand. Yes, there will not be a battle phase anymore this turn because it was already had due to the evenly match activated at the end of it. But I think that the field that Julius is going to set up is just going to be way, way, way too big for Jordan to overcome. Or does he have one last silhouette to pull off his trick? No.
Trick in the hat, rabbit in the trick.
Exactly.
Yep. All right, so what can you set up here to beat Chimera's follow-up? Do we just do the exact same combo as before? Is Wangu going to be relevant when it turns back on next turn?
Nah.
No.
We can leave it there. We can technically probably also distribute it somewhere.
Yeah, no,
Wouldn't be
that's
surprised
true.
about that. But I mean, we had to send
No,
the
we don't.
Concon for...
We've already used Concon.
But it only destroys the monsters that are being summoned, not the ones that are on the field, so I don't think it's
probably
going
can
to
just leave it. And the cool thing is, even though the Concon now in the graveyard, when we get to Strenna of course can just add back the Concon from the graveyard once more. And we haven't used the effect to set from the deck yet, so that could be coming in. It's questionable though whether there still is the trap card that we saw in game number 1, whether there still is that Rika sheet in his main deck even going second, to be fair.
Yeah, it's really odd when you have these in-engine searchable disruption cards like trap cards. You know, Ricochet obviously very powerful in its own right, but it's not really going to do anything going second. However, if you do end up in a situation where you can crack a field but not end the game, then you do need to set something up in main phase 2. So, yeah, big sort of paradox there in the deck building of do you keep in your in-engine disruption or do you take it out because they are a little bit weaker going second.
Humid Winds activating, making sure that also we're going to get that Jasmine going. I think we're searching first, okay, paying life points, but we are also going to gain life points very quickly after. There it is. So there is Jasmine, and also, of course, the effect of the second aroma monster on the field, the Rosemary.
And that one is basically a pendulum summon, if you will, but with only one aroma monster in hand, it is not that powerful. However, I think Julius doesn't mind right now. What I think is really, really beautiful about the plant deck is that, yes, you're playing 60 cards, and you're also doing that to avoid to draw some cards like Humid Winds that are essentially bricks, as we like to call it, cards that you don't want to draw because it stops or hinders your combo. But most of these one-offs or two-offs that he's running, most of these cards that he's using in his combo are also starters while they're extenders.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? Because you have to think about just the amount of in-engine requirements that are not great to draw in plants. I mean, there's Sunvine Sowing, there's Laurel, the Teardrop isn't amazing. There's a lot of cards that you would just rather not open. But I don't think there's any like hard garnets, I suppose, as we like to say. Do you remember Gem Knight Garnet? What's your favorite garnet?
I mean, it has to be the OG Garnet, right? I mean,
the OG,
currently,
19 vanilla?
There was a Beatrice Turbo deck back in the day that had like 20 Garnets and you were...
Oh yeah, I remember that.
But, oh yeah, you must have liked that, right?
Scattershot, Farfa, Alich, Shadow Dragon.
Oh, that is just burning abyss when it came
out. It's not Telements, but sometimes you can still gamble a little bit. Wait, we didn't even use the effect, did we?
No.
Oh, wait, we can still just use it now?
It's definitely on Link Summon.
Oh, yeah.
So we're using the effect of the Dance Peon to manipulate the levels. That's going to be able to give us 2 level 4s here. And now we can go into Strenna. Strenna going to recycle, and then eventually when we tribute Strenna, we can float into another monster here. So you can see the combo is not completely the way it... okay. I'm not sure if something's gone wrong here, or if we've just drawn certain pieces or sided some things out, but this is significantly weaker than what we had before.
Now, we haven't even used the Mudan yet, of course. That explains probably a lot. And now we are going to search for Glamour. We can use Strenna from the graveyard, and now we can, even if we want, tribute away the King Tiger Wanger, because now it is a plant again if you want to tribute.
We already used the tribute effect, remember?
Right. Yeah, true.
The fusion.
That is true, but we haven't set yet. Okay, we have to set Glamour again. Okay, so there is no sheet. Very important information.
Ooh.
And we get to search out the Princess, which is another piece of interruption, of course, though.
Gonna be special summoning it and then using it to link climb into
Bangalancer,
Malias.
maybe? Yeah, that's what we're going to end up with, probably. So, can we use Bangalancer on our turn? We can, right? Or is it just on the opponent's turn?
It's a quick effect, yeah.
During the main phase.
Okay, so we could technically give that Wang Hu into the hand, but do we really want that is the question, really?
I feel like you might as well. I mean, you're not really worried about your opponent normal summoning a Wang Hu into an established field.
I think you really do, because it shuts off the options for a
you can banish it, actually.
Oh, true. There's Magnolia. Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's pay 1,000, banish a card in the field.
Nadir, is that field good enough for you?
It's looking pretty strong, actually. The only thing that's missing, actually, is just the sheet from... from Julius, which was most likely sided out for going second.
2,000 life points that he had to give up for it, but I mean, your opponent is down to so little cards, so I think you're totally okay with that.
Yeah, and there's a very high chance that Jordan's going to have sided out all of those field-breaking cards going second, right? So, I mean, what do you do here? You just have an engine to break apart a negate, a bounce, a monster or spell negate, a tribute for cost. Actually, do we have... Yeah, we have the tribute for cost with the Princess. So yeah, this is 4 or 5 disruptions for 3 cards. Good luck, have fun.
Let's do this, Jordan.
Let's start from scratch against the same field, essentially, that we saw in the first game.
Engraver, there's resources in the graveyard. Let's not disregard that. We can maybe still do quite some things here. We have to be careful here as Julius still.
Yeah, no, you do have to think about your sequencing, because if you get caught off with one of these Fiendsmith cards, it does leave room for the Chimeras to start putting in some work here. Normal summoning of an Edgem Chain is probably not how you usually...
What a normal summon, yeah. What a normal summon that is.
Might as well normal summon King Tiger Wanghu at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just going to give it back to the hand with the Bangle Lancer. Sure, why not? When your opponent already made the effort of normal summoning it, we may as well just give it back to the hand, right?
I agree. I agree.
I'm just wondering what we're worried about here with this bounce. It doesn't feel all too intimidating to hit an Edgem Chain.
I mean, he could link it off, and it just goes into the graveyard, and then he could use the effect.
Okay, I didn't even think about that. Do we play Chaos Angel?
Probably not.
You do play Chaos Angel, yeah.
Look at that.
That was a good catch, yeah.
Yeah, definitely would have been jump scared by that. Light and dark as well, by the way, so very threatening.
True.
All right, so...
I mean, Ricochet would have probably... I mean, they just target the Ricochet possibly.
Plagued. The Ricochet.
Oh, yeah, true. That's a very valid point. So... Probably also super well spotted by Julius, because that's may have been the only way how he could have lost that, honestly.
I mean, I think the Princess can negate the Chaos Angel because it tributes for cost. Is that how that works? I don't know if you can tribute an unaffected monster for cost. You should be able to, maybe?
Oh.
Anyway, here we are. There's a
and that is the game! 2-0. Julius Schwarzkopf doesn't stop winning, and he's on to top 8 here at this 275th YCS in Lille as well. Plans, huh? What a deck in Europe, isn't it?
He just did it to him again and again and again. He just kept doing it to him. This was absolute plant domination again.
Yeah, no, activating the Quattle there to try and get into some engine, and then using the Princess negate. There's nothing left at this point. Tribute the Fiendsmith for cost off of the Con, and then you just have 2 cards left in hand versus still the... did we have anything left at that? But the Regulus Omni negate as well. So,
yeah, that's quite the thing.
There's a lot. No, honestly, impressive to see Plants win going first, which is, you know, a little bit expected, but going second as well. I think that's really where Julius has shone as a player, right?
He used the best plant card there. It's evenly matched.
Does put in work, I suppose. No, honestly, I think what you mentioned about playing around evenly matched would have came in really clutch there, especially because he had that information. Yeah. He saw it game 1.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. I'm wondering why he was so afraid, because yes, the plant deck is good, but is it good enough really to play through the entire field that you usually set up without spells and trap cards, really? So the Wanghu is cool. Like, it just really shuts it down, but do you need it? Like, it's...
I don't know, it's weird, right? Because it is a complete auto win, and it's like evenly in 60 cards. It's a tough decision to make. And as you said, maybe high rolling with that type of card is maybe the best way to go about it.
There is also Triple Tactics Thrust that can just use the search for the evenly matched, and when you're already playing with some monster effect, there is always the chance that you're getting even lead. So I think 6 cards in 60 cards, that is a pretty good chance of having one of those.
That's true. And also, I mentioned at the beginning of the tournament that I would think that Chimera could take it all the way, could take it down. Bad news for me and for all the Chimera enjoyers, but bracket worked out pretty unfortunate for those Chimera players, because we had 3 in total in top cut. 2 of them played in top 32 against each other, and then now Julius played against the other already in top 32 as well, so all the Chimera players are gone.
Some friendly fire there, unfortunately, for the Chimera Fusion enjoyers. We're going to have an interview with Julius to walk us through just how this is played out. But first of all, we actually have a top 16 deck breakdown.
All right.
So we're going to display that now for you on screen and show you just some of the different themes that have made it this far and where we...
I'm kind of curious to see how many Snake Eyes got in there. I mean, I think I've already said it in the beginning of this round, so fair enough. But we have the duel.
It's all with results, though. Look at the... Oh, wait, no, not with results. Results from top 32. And there we see the duelists facing off against each other. Herman Hansen still completely undefeated in this tournament. First up the Swiss.
Yeah. One Swiss with the oversized card, didn't he?
Also in top 32, managed to take down Dario. Funnily enough, if you paid attention to our coverage throughout the day, Dario was the one from the last round feature match of Swiss, the Fire King player, who sneaked in there 30 seconds but couldn't bring Herman down.
Yeah, and you said it, it's not guaranteed that you enter the top cut with this performance when you're going X2 and you win the last round. So it's still a little bit closer. And he was the 32nd player to make it to the top cut, obviously, which is why he had to play versus #1 from Swiss, Herman the Beast.
Yeah, and I mean, to just round up that bracket side, Julius Schwarzkopf would be the next one facing Herman Hansen if Herman won it. So that might be a possible thing coming up. But here, looking at this, we have Yassine all the way from the US being there in top 16
Canada,
right now
actually.
as well. Okay. Playing versus a German powerhouse, well, Philipp Weidinger. So that is definitely a hard task to overcome, I want to say. And then we have Robin Doolin actually making waves with a pretty cool deck there in top 16 too, now facing Thomas Arendt there. I would love to feature that deck as well. Leo, you know it, but I will not spoiler the information just yet. But if he makes it, there's a good chance we might feature him.
We've got Zeki Shah, who's made it into top 16 here versus Noah, and I believe Zeki from the UK, making multiple different top cut appearances at nationals. He's had a couple of YCS tops under his belt, so a very experienced player as well. Good to see him in top cut. Likewise, getting some UK representation for us.
Yeah, and we also have a Victor in here who is actually not playing branded for once. I saw him at the top table. I was completely confused. I looked at the field, I looked at the player, looked at the field, looked at the player, and there were Jubel cards in there.
But he made you proud because he main decked 3 Cosmic Cyclone. Now that he's out, I can tell you.
Sorry.
And then we have rounding off here the top 32, or also the top 16 rather now already. Mario, Daniele, Vincent, and Fernando, our top 32 Tenpai duelists that we had on feature there. But honestly, we're speaking about so many players right now, but there's only one person that needs to be talked to right now, and that, of course, is our feature match winner, Julius Schwarzkopf, ready for the interview with that. So please take it over.
Thank you very much, Basta. Yes, I am here with Julius, who's just made it into the top 8 here at the 275th Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series live in Lille. Julius, congratulations. Now, you're no stranger to top cuts of these tournaments. Just going through your history of things, you were unchained for Bologna in top 32. Then you won Dortmund 23, and you won German Nats this year with Rika. Talk to us a bit about Rika. Why did you move away from Unchained? Because you were on Rika Trap Tricks at one point, weren't you? And then you've moved to Unchained, and now you've moved back to Rika, and it's leading you to victory. Talk to us a bit about your journey with your deck choices.
Yeah, so basically I decided to play Traptrix for 2023 German Nationals because I didn't have a lot of money, so I just bought 3 structure decks and like went on playing with that, and also added like some Rika cards in to like, because the endboard wasn't that strong after like the Rika cards with all the trap cards. But for the Rika board you got a lot of layered interruption, like also having the Princess in the graveyard and a Strand on the field, especially in such a format where like Evenly was so, so a lot of people were running Evenly, so it was very good having a Strand on the field, and also the Pudica in the graveyard to have a banish. So yeah, that's why I chose to play Traptrix, and I topped German Nationals 2023 with it, and then I went on to Euros, where I unfortunately didn't top with Traptrix, and on that day I just bought Rika. So because I was seeing that was undefeated by Jessica Robinson, I think.
Absolutely.
And I just bought it there in full Italian. And the next day I planned a mega challenge. I lost all 6 games, so because I didn't know what to do and I wasn't able to play the deck. But yeah, for Dortmund I just stick to the deck, and yeah, went pretty well. And yeah, after Dortmund I just wanted to try something different. And yeah, then I went to Labyrinth Unchained. But for German Nets, because of the new Aroma and Rika support, I went back to the deck because the deck was just so powerful. Yeah.
Well, like you said, we have seen it win a couple of European championships at this point, and a lot. And it's clearly carried you to victory very well here. So tell people at home, because you've been in these top cuts a lot, you've been in feature matches a lot. Are you nervous still at this point, or do you feel like you've done them so much that it's just another duel?
No, I'm still nervous. I still want to perform, so also on feature match I'm still nervous, but I would not say I'm more nervous on feature match. I think, especially in Top Gun matches, I'm also nervous like everybody else. Yeah.
Well, congratulations on getting to the top 8. We're going to be speaking to you again very soon because we have to go interview every single one of the top 8 right now. But I'm going to let you put your microphone down and you can get up and go and join Alberto over there. Congratulations again, Julius. So we're actually going to hear from the man himself some of those play-by-plays with Alberto, just so that they can talk about exactly how that Swift game went for Julius. Guys, take it away.
Thank you so much, Ed. Thanks, Julius, for being with us. Congratulations for being into the top 8. We will see some moments of the match which I think could have ended up something different, but I want to see you the first slide, so we commented it together, right? Because I think game one started very well from your side, because basically you had unexpected die, plus the Lone and Fire Blossom, so I think you were establishing your combo. So first slide is gonna pop up soon, here it is, and I think this is an ending field with all respect, right? So what were you thinking? This was enough for you, I guess, right? At this point, like.
Yeah, so game one, this is the best our deck can do without non-engine, so the board cannot get any better except you have like cards like Imperm or something like that. I had another Book of Eclipse set, so but that's like just a one-card low-key combo. It doesn't matter if you draw die or anything else. One low-key does this, and yeah, cannot get any better. Right?
No, exactly, because basically every single zone was filled in at this point, and we were saying, well, I mean, this is impressive, because basically, I mean, what can it even possibly do on Earth? And then I want to show you the next slide, because basically I think there was a certain moment in which here it comes the first Book of Eclipse, and then the interaction was triple tactic talents followed by another Book of Eclipse, and then he had Cold by the Grave plus polymerization. So my question is, were you thinking for a moment that this incredible field was not enough? Was there that second in your mind, maybe?
So after the cold buy, definitely I was like thinking, is this enough? But like the Book of Eclipse, I would have placed it earlier, because like at this point it doesn't do anything, because I can still tribute it for sheet. So he would have resolved the talents if he would have first both Eclipse and then the talents. So I think maybe he could have won it, but yeah, also with the cold buy, he wanted to cold buy the Strenner, which you see here, it's like,
yeah, exactly.
It was a very good cold buy. He could have also did it on Rex. There was also to prevent the Omni Negate, but he decided to do on a Strenner, which was really impactful, but at the end the sheet was just enough to...
Yeah, no, because basically in the next slide, as we can see, like the Bengal answer basically sealed the game, because as you mentioned, even though he had the Cold by the Grave plus the polymerization, I think this was more than enough to seal the game, which, I mean, I think it was impressive field, to be fair. And for this game one, so this game one was over. So I think you are up on the matchup, and how well prepared were you against Chimera in general?
So not that much. I just sided like some one-offs in for crossout and the cold pie. I just think it's like a very hard matchup, because if they can make the Diabells, who like is an anti-spell, like who you have to set them, a lot of my breakers are quick spells or like evenly as a trap, so it's a pretty hard matchup if I lose the dice roll. But you saw game two, he was going for the Vangu, which I had an out to, so the evening was very impactful.
Basically, yes. And into game show, I want to show you the first slide, because basically here gets the point in which the King Tiger Wangu was at this like one of the OGs of the game, and I think his ending field was, let's say, okay, in a sense that it was not, you know, something like that it's impossible to break, right? So, what were you thinking? Like, this is doable, I guess, right?
Yeah, I was just scared that he maybe might be able to set up a Diabells in my main phase. But after I saw that he has like only beasts on the fiends on the field, because the Baphomet, who dumps the Diabells usually, needs different types. So he just wasn't able to make the Diabells, and then he activated the Chimera Fusion. I just saw my evening, was like, okay, I have answers for everything.
Exactly.
So I just want to play around Nibiru.
Yeah, we can see it in the, basically in the second slide with the, I think you declared battle phase right away, and then he just activated the spell just to go and fusion summon with, I mean, I think in general, like now the slide will show up. The Devilly match here was insane, because like basically he gets rid of his entire field, and from this point of view I think like the game is just going down from his side, because like with 2 cards in hand remaining, especially because like we saw that he discarded a triple tactic talent, which against you in general is like, I mean, Rika doesn't play any sort of interruptions from the point of view, right? So and then, yeah, I want to show you commentating the third slide, because there's a certain point in which the King Tiger Wangu makes this operation, and we thought for a moment that maybe that could have stopped you, but the last card in hand was the droplet. So I think from this point on, I think you told yourself, totally doable, right?
Yeah. So, but I didn't need to tribute the Chimera thing, because I had the Lone Fire anyways to play through the Sword Knight. But I was just thinking, if I have to drop it for the Vangu, so I just tribute it, and now I'll just play around it, because now I summon a Petal, add the Princess to the hand, and at that point, wherever he nips me, I can just negate, and at a certain point I just discard it for a blend, and then I'm just full nip-proof the whole time. That was the only card left I could really lose to, so yeah.
Yeah, and then in the next slide, I just want to end on the ending field, basically you put up once again, which, I mean, I think it speaks for itself. So I think like in general now entering into the top 8, if there's a matchup you would like to avoid, is there anything in general, or everything is fine at this point in the tournament?
I think I played top 32 and top 16 against Camera, so I think they're all out now. I think there were only 3 in, I'm not sure, but it's a pretty tough matchup, especially if they go for the dire belt. But other than that, I think I'm well prepared for like Jubel and all the other decks, so yeah.
Oh,
not
then
really.
Thank you so much for staying with us and good luck for the top 8.
Thank you.
Ready. So Ed, take it away.